It's 9 o'clock in Chicago. It's 3 p.m. in the United Kingdom. And you can see we blew our budget on the graphics this week. It's Darren and Steve. All right, mate, come out from behind. Come out. We blew our budget on the graphics this week. You'll see that. Thanks for joining us. You know we love to do silly things when we start this program. So how's it going, mate? What's the news from across the pond?
It's going good. You might have noticed, you might not have noticed, but actually the board was shaking with laughter while you were talking away. What's happening? Not much in the UK. I mean, coronavirus is always in the news. I don't think it's as bad as it is in the US. It sounds like it's getting pretty scary. Is that the right word?
I think so. Listen, Florida had its largest one-day cases, over 15,000. I think, not just here, but I think everywhere. There is so much uncertainty in the world, so much worry that it's affecting every aspect of our lives, right? And as far as business is concerned, I think that we should all just take a deep breath and realize that we're all in the same boat, okay? We should be showing a bit more compassion and a bit more kindness and maybe just giving people a little bit of, cutting them a little bit of slack, because everybody's under pressure and under stress with what's going on. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, I do. I think a bit more being sensible. There's all sorts of bits in the news where we seem to be okay, and it seems to be under control at the moment. Gyms and bars and restaurants are opening if they're not open already. But there's people going out drinking lots, not social distancing, not really just using their initiative and saying, I want to go and have a good time, but I can still social distance at the same time, or I can still take the right precautions. And it doesn't take a huge amount of brain power to think, I really just need to follow the guidelines.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. I agree. Just as you say, let's all just be responsible and think of others, as we should do in every aspect of our lives.
Absolutely.
That being said, so our guest this week is one of our co-authors in The New Normal, based in St. Louis, Missouri. He's unstoppable, this man. That's the phrase. That's the phrase we're using today. He's unstoppable. It's Michael Fritz. Fritz, come and join us. Welcome to Across the Pond, mate, live from St. Louis. Thanks for joining Darren and I. How's it going?
Hi, Fritz.
It's going good, man. And I really do feel unstoppable. It's been probably like 4 months. I mean, as long as coronavirus has been a thing. And people would ask me, hey, how you feeling? We're dingling along, and we're figuring things out, and we're doing the best we can. And now it's like, hey, we've learned a lot of cool stuff, and we're back to feeling unstoppable and excellent. So, back, baby.
Yeah. Great to hear. Broad shoulders. That's my man. Yeah. So listen, tell people about what you do, Fritz, because I know we're going to focus on sales today. And you said, just prior to coming on, that we were talking about, you never thought you'd be like in sales as you are, but everybody finds their way into it one way or another, whether we're selling ourselves or an idea or whatever it might be. So just give us a bit of background about you and what you're doing and this journey you've been on, because it's fascinating.
Whew, man, it's been a heck of a ride. So I guess I'll begin at the beginning. I originally started off, I was going to be a software developer. And a few years into that, I got into software testing. And a few years after that, I got into consulting, like work with recruitment firms, work with other software development companies and consult for them. And eventually I opened a business. I opened Arch DevOps 5 years ago. And, since then it's gotten into a lot more of automation and then website development, social media marketing, content creation, all kinds of stuff. And it's like, holy moly, like I'm literally not doing what I wanted to be when I grew up, but I love it. And it's weird. And I mean, going back to what you said before about sales, it's like, that's a big part of it. And I never thought I'd consider myself a sales person, but I guess I'm there. I just have to own it. I'm it. I'm a salesman. What the heck?
There you go. He's in. He's in. So what's the kind of practical stuff that you've learned, or what experiences have you got that you think you can pass on to people about the way in which you conduct business? Because everybody's slightly different, and sometimes we can gain, little golden nuggets from people like you.
Sure. Well, I think the biggest thing is it ties in really, really tightly with resilience, human resilience. And I think we've all experienced quite a bit of this just within the last 4 to 6 months. 2020 is off to a roaring start, right? And we figured out that the human spirit is really resilient. And bringing that around to sales, you see that the application for that being, people can handle a lot of no's before they get to a yes.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's not the end of the world. Just because somebody says no to your thing, it doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean you suck. It doesn't even mean your product or service sucks. It just means, hey, right now is not the right time, or maybe that's not the right person.
Sure.
And I've carried that over with just parenting, teaching our 4 girls. And I said, hey, failure is not a blight on you. It's not a mark on you. It's just data. It's just information. So if somebody says no, well, why did they say no? And figure out, like, is there a pattern to it? And is there something you can do to adjust? And that builds that resilience. Other people will just, oh my goodness, I can't believe they said no. I'm a failure. Well, don't do that, right? The other thing is that so many people think sales is like, hey, you're pushing things onto people that they don't want. Nobody likes to be sold to. And I can tell you, 100% of the time, if there's something I need or I want, and somebody comes along selling that thing to me, I'm probably going to say yes.
Yeah.
Because it's what I'm wanting. And people think that sales is, oh, it's pushy. And it's like, yeah, sometimes it is for the wrong people, right?
Sure.
But the ones that actually understand, hey, it's about building relationships and understanding the needs and the real deep wants and just fostering that rapport, then sales just sort of happens. It just sort of happens, and it results in a lot of referral work. And then the last thing is something I realized just recently. I have for a long time had a problem asking someone for the sale. You've got to ask, right?
Yeah.
And I realized just recently, if I'm worried about people that are afraid to say no, like they'll just kind of lead you on and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't want to get in that situation. I don't want to upset them. I mean, I can do everything in my power to make it as good and safe and comfortable for them as possible. But ultimately, that other person is responsible for setting boundaries. They have to know when to say no and to say, I'm really not interested. And okay, that's fine. Then I'll back off. But, until then, it's like, I shouldn't be afraid. I shouldn't be afraid to like say, hey, in our last episode, we talked about XYZ. The need apparently is still there. I haven't heard otherwise. Would you like to pick up where we left off? And to just keep going like that. But people just have to be able to set boundaries and say no to stuff. If they don't want it, then, it's just like being picked up at a bar, right? You say no to the guy or the gal if you're not interested in a relationship, and that should be it, right? So that's the boundaries.
I love that analogy. That's a really cool analogy. Yeah, very much so. And it's interesting you raise that point about asking for the sale. I think it's a common mistake that people make. That and I know everybody's talking about everything's relationship selling, and I love that. And you build rapport, and you get to know who you're dealing with, and so on. But at some point, you still have to ask the question, right? Do you want to buy this? Do you like this? Do you want to go ahead? However it is that you're going to frame it. And I think people just kind of back off from that nowadays because they are either scared or they're just not. They just don't know how to. So I think you raise an interesting point. Yeah.
That's something I've had to struggle with a lot, and in a way, it's almost like proposing to somebody. You can date and you can nibble around the edges, but ultimately you got to ask a question. You got to ask, right? Will you marry me? And it's like, okay, well, if you never get around to it, then okay, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
And to use that same analogy, and I love it again, that's so clever, that half the time in that situation of a proposal, they're waiting for you to ask them if you're down that road, aren't they? They're waiting,
Right.
and are talking to all their friends, well, has he asked you yet? Or when's he going to ask me? And it'll probably keep steering you in the direction of you getting down on one knee. Yeah, no, exactly. Stopping at jewelry stores and all of that sort of stuff. I don't know, but
Yeah.
you're right. I think that's a very, very clever way of looking at it. What do you think, Darren?
I love the analogy. I'm just a little bit scared that you're going around asking too many people to marry you. Yeah. But I get it. I get it.
Gigolo.
I think there's a fear of rejection, isn't there? There's a fear of if I ask for the order, they're going to say no. But hey, guess what? If you don't ask, they're saying no anyway. It's the same thing. So, but psychologically, there's a fear of somebody turning and saying, "I don't want to buy from you." And I think it's a Zig Ziglar quote. Failure is an event, not a person. As in, if the person says no, it's no to the sale. They're not saying no to you, unless, of course, you're getting married, and then that's a different thing. But
No, absolutely.
It is the situation, and I completely agree with Rich. If you don't ask, you don't get it.
You don't get it. When I've done training sessions with sales
You've gone
teams,
retentive there, Steve.
I always talk about two barrels, right? The barrel of green apples and the barrel of red apples. Okay, and if the green apples are yeses and the red apples are no, we would always just keep walking up to the barrel with the green apples in and pulling out green apples, right? Because everybody's going to say yes. But last night when we went home, the cleaners come in, the janitors came in, they knocked the barrels over. It was dark, so they just scooped them all up and just threw them back in the same barrels. And then so you come in the next day and you pull out a red one and you're like, holy shit, that's the green one, and you pull out a green one and it's supposed to be a red one, right? So what you do is then you're into the, I call it barrel picking. You're into the barrel picking, and then you hit this vein of green apples, right, where you keep pulling them out, or you hit this vein of red apples where you keep pulling them out. And it's only by continually dipping back into the barrel and pulling the apple out do you find the one that you actually want. And if you view it like that, I think it's an easy thing for people to understand. You hit that rich vein and on you go. But you have to be resilient, and you have to keep going with it, and ask that question. Great insight, Fritz. You've done some work with AI as well, haven't you?
A little bit.
Yeah. Where's AI going, do you think, with technology these days? I mean, are we all going to be taken over by robots, or are Darren and I just going to be, like this,
You'll still be around. I did some time traveling this weekend, and we're good for the next 12 years. I'm joking. Yeah, it's just a Python module. Imagine that, really easy. But as far as AI is concerned, I mean, right now there's a lot of hype. And I think that a lot of companies are jumping on this bandwagon. Oh, we're using AI. It's like, okay, well, the stuff that I do in software testing, if you looked at it, you'd be like, oh my goodness, he's using AI. No, I'm really not. I mean, you might call it that, but it's just barely scratching the surface. But there's still a lot of noise. There's a lot of kind of bandwagony. Everybody's doing it. All the cool kids are doing it. If you're not doing AI, you're not cool, kind of thing. So until it gets to the point where it's a household term, where your refrigerator and your toaster have, artificial intelligence built in, and I don't mean have Alexa built into your toaster oven. I mean actual artificial intelligence. Until that happens and it becomes more ubiquitous, we're probably not going to see any huge thing. When it's no longer the cool thing that people are going after, that's when you're going to see some real progress, and you won't even know it. It'll just enrich your life, and you won't even realize that that's what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
There have been.
Sorry, go on. Carry on.
Oh, I was going to say, I mean, I've seen a lot of companies that combine elements of AI with other things like big data, data science, whatever it is, analytics. And it's like, okay, well, we're still kind of smashing things together to see what works. It's like crafting in Minecraft. It's like, well, what happens if I do this? It didn't work. And we're still in that stage, right? So until we have it down to more of a science and people aren't looking at it like, hey, this is the next cool thing, until that happens, we're fine. Humans are safe. We're good. Skynet's not going to be coming for another few years yet.
Okay. Good
Yeah.
to know.
Indeed. I was going to say, Fritz, you and I need to have a chat offline afterwards because we have so much in common. I think artificial intelligence, you're right, it is overused, isn't it? I mean, it's in tech world, it's a lot of algorithms saying if I say hello, then respond back. That's not really intelligence. That's just a bit of code that says if this, then that. But for me, artificial intelligence is where it actually thinks for itself and actually says, I said something to Steve yesterday and he was grumpy about it, so therefore I need to adjust my algorithm and say it in a different way. And it's actually thinking about the responses and thinking about what happens in the surrounding environment.
Right.
I don't know if you agree, but that's my interpretation of true artificial intelligence.
It is. It's really close to it. And I think that case that you're talking about where if you say something to Steve and he's grumpy, that's kind of an edge case. I've never seen this dude be grumpy. Have you? You know him better than I do, probably. Look at him. He's laughing at that.
True test.
Well, hang on a sec. I'll do a grumpy face. There you go.
Hey, I don't believe
if
that.
You can save it for next week.
I think that's an Instagram filter. That's what I think.
Nice one. Cool. So what's the future look like for my unstoppable friend here? What's on the horizon, Fritz?
I don't know. I have no idea, Steve. Listen, I haven't.
That's some of the fun, though, right?
It is, but I haven't planned any of this stuff out, and that's what it freaks my mom out because my dad grew up. His parents went through the Depression, and so they always looked for stability. And my mom's like, "Oh my goodness, son, why can't you just get a job?" And I'm like, "I literally can't do that. I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I'm just not wired up that way."
Sure.
But I guess whatever it is that keeps being fun, what keeps being exciting, as long as I'm growing, I'm not getting stagnant or whatever, I think that's a good shot, so that's what I'm going to be focused on. So I guess I do have sort of a plan, but I can't be like, I'm going to be performing these actions. I'll be like, no, I'm looking for a particular effect on myself.
Yeah. No,
So
I agree.
whatever that is. Maybe I'll be a rodeo clown someday, man. I don't know.
Hey, listen.
Hey.
If it works and you're happy, right? Who cares, right? There you go.
Exactly.
And I think that's the thing, though, isn't it? That any plans that anybody had January 1st are kind of like, okay, what do we do now? But, they've kind of gone out the window. And I think if the last 6-7 months have taught us anything, it's that we need to be able to adapt quickly to something that changes literally by the day right now. Yeah. And there are some people that will hold their head in their hands about that, but there are people like the three of us that actually find that really challenging and really exciting and think, okay, what's next? Just chuck it at us. We'll deal with it. And I love that spirit. That's true entrepreneurial spirit, as far as I'm concerned. I have this problem about the overuse of the word entrepreneurial because everybody's become one, right? Same as everybody has become a coach and so on. But I think that's the true spirit of being entrepreneurial. Okay, what's next? Chuck it at me. We'll deal with it.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. It's exciting. And even a couple months ago, I was telling some people, I'm like, this can be an exciting time. And I sometimes felt like I might be rubbing some people the wrong way. People are getting sick. Some of them are dying. And it's like, I know that, but people are getting sick and dying of all kinds of things, where they're getting hit by trash trucks. It's a thing. Humans are squishy critters, and sometimes we die, and it's unfortunate. But we can't let that stop us from evolving to the next level, whatever that is for each of us. And it seems like every single time I've run up into something in my own career, or there's some crazy well, that didn't go as planned, what the heck? And it's turned into an amazing pivot that I never would have found on my own. If I kept doing the same thing I was doing before, it's like, it'd be kind of boring. So it can be exciting. And I'm glad you guys pick up on that. So I can freely say to you, these are exciting times to be alive. And I know you know where I'm going with that. Yeah.
Totally. Okay.
Totally on board with that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Good. Huge weight off my shoulders. I'm like, oh my goodness. Dave, can I say this? Yeah, I can.
Stevie's not coming on again. No. I completely agree. I mean, it is worrying times in many ways, but there's so much opportunity, and quite often we don't know if something's going to work until we try it. Quite often say, oh no, that's never going to work, I'm not going to try it. But if you don't try it, and quite often if you do try it, you can be surprised. You think, wow, it actually has been more successful than I thought it could be. I didn't see that coming, and that's the true entrepreneurial spirit that I think Steve really means or cares about.
Yeah, true. Very good. Fritz, where can people find you, get hold of you?
Find us at our website, archdevops.com.
Yeah.
Or you can find me on LinkedIn. My face looks like this, and you can find me pretty easily. But I'm all over social media. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, maybe Pinterest once in a while. There's another one, LinkedIn. Yeah, I said that already. But I'm all over the place. You can find me.
Okay.
But yeah, follow us. See what we're doing. We're doing all kinds of cool things. We're updating the site on a regular basis. So if you ever need any help with custom software dev, software testing, content management, social media marketing, outreach, whatever, we got people for that. So we'd love to help you.
You're the man. Thank you so much for joining us, Fritz. Have a great week. Co-author of The New Normal, and all-round good guy with who's completely unstoppable. Thanks for joining us, Fritz. See you again soon.
Thank you, man. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. What a character, huh?
Indeed, yes. Yeah, I just love the not knowing where you're going, kind of entrepreneurial way of doing things, and testing things out, not being afraid to go and do it. And I fully agree with the sales, how we're afraid to ask for the order, or we're afraid of sales.
Afraid of, we are afraid of it. As you say, I think unless you ask, and I love that Zig Ziglar quote of yours about it's an event. You know, I think if people get to grips with that, then maybe it just makes them, you know, what's the harm? What's the harm in asking? You know, if you were lost, you would ask for directions. You know, if we didn't have the technology we have nowadays, right? You know, you'd stop and ask the way, and maybe people should do it exactly the same way. So there you go. So top tips this week, mate. What we got for everybody?
Well, I think we were going to focus on still with the theme of sales, because quite often you should ask for the order. You shouldn't be afraid to, but at the same time, the way you ask for it, or the way you put your messaging on your website and on your social media, can impact the results you get. You know, if you ask it in a horrible, not very nice way versus the right body posture and the right smile, and can I help you with the order? Are you ready to place the order? Then I think it makes a big difference. We actually had a little bit of a humorous post to share for today that's based on that as well.
Let's do that.
You want to do that now?
Yeah, let's do that, just so people get where we're coming from.
Let me see if I've got it up and running. Bear with me a second.
Yeah. I mean, body language is important as well. You know, and if you do have somebody that's doing this all the time, you know, when you're telling them things, you know, and again, you know, if they're asking questions and you know, they want to know more information, all of those, as we used to say, buying signals, you know, are still relevant today. So, you know, look out for, you know, if people are interested in what they're hearing, you know, or are they distracted? Are they taking notes? You know, so yeah. I mean, I think the online world, it's a little bit different with body language, like Zoom calls are different to face-to-face and handshakes. But yeah, I absolutely agree with you. So let me just share my screen and let me show you this image. Here we go.
This is just about a comma or a full stop. So, and it could be on your website. But let's eat grandpa versus let's eat grandpa. If you get the difference. The subtleties.
Listen, huge difference. And that's the, you know, just that pause. That's the subtle difference as well.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
So online, what if we're trying to get that yes, or we get that click through? What's our kind of suggestions for that?
I think it depends on what stage somebody's at in the buying process, but simple words like now So, for example, click here to buy, or click here to register. If you put the word now in, it's a prime example. When you're a child, you're told, put your clothes on now, brush your teeth now, go to school now. And we're programmed that when we hear the word now, we react to it. So it's not just the wording, but it's the wording and the colours as well that can attract. So, for example, if it's a special offer that's limited time, then we can actually put the button in orange. So this offer ends in 2 hours' time. Red or orange has urgency. And in Western culture, we see that colour, and immediately deep down in our minds, at a subconscious level, we think, I have to react much quicker. Colours, wording, even words like exclusive, limited time only, they just plant seeds in our mind that says, I don't want to miss out on this opportunity. Would people like my proven marketing skills, or would they like my marketing skills? The word proven, just providing it's correct, is just reinforcing that what I'm doing does work.
Powerful message. I've seen people starting using kind of tick down timers, limited offer, and they're counting down the minutes. Does that increase, in your opinion, like that urgency for people to click because they see time running out?
Yeah, it does. I see it being used a lot unethically. When the timer runs out, it just resets, and you think, well, that's just a bit of a con. But if it genuinely is, you've got an offer and it ends Sunday at midnight, then you put that timer in and people can see it. Now, if the timer says you've got 265 days to act, you're just going to look at it and go, well, I'll come back later. But if it's got 23 minutes or 22 minutes left on the timer, you're going to look at it and go, I better get that order in. And Amazon does it to great effect. If you look at Amazon, it says, they don't say the offer ends necessarily. They might say, if you order in the next 40 minutes, you'll get it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know if they do this in the US. They definitely do it in the UK.
They do. They do. Yeah.
And so you look at it and you think, well, I really want it. I don't want to wait for weeks or several days. So the urgency inside the mind is, I got to get that order through now. I shouldn't leave it.
Yeah.
It does work. It does work.
Okay. And so the other side of that coin is the people. This many people have bought. So you see it and I'm often wary of the ones where you see it clicking up every couple of seconds. That people are buying it in with such speed. But again, used ethically, that is a good incentive.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what we call social proof.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at a website. I have no idea if they're going to take my money and run. I don't know if the product's any good or not. But if 15 people have bought it in the last hour, even the large retail chains like in the UK, like Argos. I think Argos is an example where if you go to the website, they say 15 people have looked at this in the last hour, or 100 people looked in the last hour, and it just shows that other people are looking at it. So therefore, it must be good, or it must be of interest to other people. So it just gives you that extra confidence, that reinforcement. It's worth buying.
And then Amazon are good at this whole, if you bought this, people also bought this, and this, right? What's your take on that? Is that, to me, that okay? It's a great marketing ploy, but I'm always suspect that someone's paying to be lumped in with that sale, to increase their opportunity of selling stuff.
Yeah, I think as an Amazon buyer, I'd hate it. My product arrives on the screen and it's immediately sending people to go and buy something different to what I've got. But the way I think this works is it gets the upsell. So if you're buying a hedge trimmer for your garden, you look at it and it says people also bought a lawnmower or a grass cutter or something else. So you end up going, well, actually, I need that as well. So you're already thinking, I need to do things in my backyard or my garden. I need to go and buy some bits and some machinery and tools. So you're already thinking that. By suggesting other things, you're more likely to buy now than you are tomorrow or next week. So it's a great opportunity to say, don't get a $50 sale, get $100 or $150 worth of sales because you buy more. So yeah, it does work.
which actually closes the loop about sales for us now, because even when you're selling a product, you know, if somebody's buying X, they might also want to, while they're in the buying mood, as we used to say, want to buy W and Z and A and B as well. So, you know, maybe not just fixating on the one thing, but maybe just broaden the mind. And again, there's the fear factor comes into that, because they're buying this. I don't want to, maybe I don't want to just push it for, you know, some other way, of course. So,
yes. Yeah, no,
interesting
absolutely.
point. Interesting point. Okay. Well, we're just about out of time again, mate. Goes so quickly. Goes so quickly.
I haven't done this with closing credits. Do I need to do this with?
Can people wait while you just put?
It'll take me about 20 minutes if that's okay.
Yeah, come back next week and see the credits as we open with them.
Yeah, we'll do that actually.
Okay. Well, so listen, in good to Ronnie style, thanks for watching Across the Pond. It's goodbye from me. And
it's goodbye from him.
See you later. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.
Okay.